I just saw that there's a hashtag trending bored at work, and it's people doing all kinds of crazy things because they're bored at work and they need to entertain themselves as they're in the office or warehouse or wherever. Now, I am a person who can get behind a wacky prank. I can get behind doing goofy things in order to keep the workday flowing smoothly. Heck, I have even been one of those people back before the days of social media. I had my fun in the office. Now I am a remote worker and prefer it that way, but I also feel like life is too short to be hashtag bored at work. This article came from Korn Ferry, and it is work burnout, boredom, and Boreout. What workers call boredom could be something far more detrimental to themselves and their organizations. This is from best-selling author Dan Goleman. In this article, they mention that TikTok hashtag bored at work having over 200,000 videos attached, and they're funny videos. I mean, I'm here for the lulz. But, are people at work to have fun? Maybe sometimes, but for most of the time, they should be getting their job done. They should be contributing to the success of an organization. They are there for a purpose beyond loafing and goofing off. According to this, it says some suggest that due to its known negative impact on focus, judgment, goal-directed planning, risk assessment, and emotional control, being bored at work is as dangerous or even more dangerous than being burnt out. And then they go through distinction between boredom, burnout, and boreout. So let's talk about what this is all about. So burnout was a term coined in the 1970s, and this is chronic workplace stress not being successfully managed that gives you a state characterized by feelings of energy depletion, exhaustion, increased mental distance from one's job, feelings of negativity or cynicism related to one's job, and reduced professional efficacy. And boredom, simply when we have a lack of stimulation or challenge, which make us feel dull, restless, or even slightly apathetic. And boreout is this chronic boredom. Boreout is what happens when we are bored to the point where we feel our work has no meaning. It's what we feel when we believe our work doesn't have a purpose or a point. And as with burnout and workaholism, studies link boreout to chronic mental health issues such as anxiety or depression. I will link this all down below. They characterize boreout as something that happens to workers that are too busy doing things where they don't see much point. These workers actually want to be engaged in something deeply satisfying or fulfilling, to put effort towards a task that aligns with core values and a sense of meaning in the world. Now, according to one study, 40% of our daily activities are performed each day in identical situations. That means it's just rote. It's take a ticket, open the ticket, solve the customer's problem, close the ticket, and it's just rote and repetitive things. Repetition and predictability can be a good thing because it gives people a sense of psychological safety. They know what to expect. There has to be this balance between stressful new situations, things that shake things up, and that psychological safety of, I know what to expect. I know what's going to happen on Monday morning, even if that thing is going to be a customer that just doesn't understand how to use the product properly. Humans are not wired only to like repetition. They are wired to want to feel that their efforts are a part of something bigger. So even that customer service representative wants to feel like the rote thing that they're doing still has meaning. It still is tied to the organizational purpose, that they are part of something that is more than just them. Unfortunately, this article doesn't give us any answers as to exactly what to do about people who are bored at work, but they do note that having some boredom gives you opportunity to daydream, to come up with new ideas, to productively reflect on what we want and how we can engage in the world more creatively. If you're a leader of a team and your team is showing signs of boredom, boreout, or burnout, it's time to take action. If your organization and your people are hashtagging on TikTok and doing videos while they're bored at work, You have an issue. There's something that you need to do in order to bring everybody back to a common purpose. Now, as a leader, it's your job to set the vision, to set expectations, to let people know what is required of them. Now, if someone has actually done the bored at work hashtag and shown your workplace and that they are doing pranks and things like that while at work, should there be disciplinary action? I don't think so. I think it's important to allow people to have some fun at work. Some of these things are serendipitous opportunities to have some team building exercises. But it's also important to set expectations. If it's happening all the time, if this has become something where your workplace is going viral on TikTok because everybody's bored at work, or people are posting things on social media saying that they are burned out, it's time to take action. First of all, you have to get to know what's going on with your people. Now, each one of your team members is going to be individually motivated. They will be bored by different things. They will be motivated by different things. You have to understand who these people are, what motivates them, and what is boring them in certain situations. A motivation code obviously is a tool that can help you do this. It helps you understand who your people are, how they're motivated. It will even give you multiple dimensions of understanding various ways that people find motivation and fulfillment at work. It's pretty easy when you're doing the same thing every single day to check out a little bit or to feel like you're phoning it in. It's important for leaders to understand that this does happen from time to time. This is why we have paid time off. But if it's a chronic problem in your organization, have those conversations with your people to find out what's going on. Now, I have another video about getting your people to speak up, to get them to actually communicate to you about what's going on. I will have that also linked below, because a lot of times people don't want to talk to you, the boss. They might have some fear associated with letting you know how they really feel about their job if they are feeling that bore out where they just are at their wits' end and they're phoning it in every time they take action. A motivation code can actually be one of those things that helps people sort of wake up from their boredom, wake up from their bore out. If they are dreading Monday morning because they know it's just going to be a rote experience doing the same thing day in, day out, week after week, motivation code can interrupt that. Once people start to get to know who they really are and how they're motivated, they might see some signs of like, wait a minute, I am an influencer and I'm doing this thing all by myself. I need to connect with other people. When you start to discover this together with your team members, you can start making adjustments so that people can find fulfillment at work, so that they can find something that is going to light their fire and get them more engaged with your organization. Now, for me as a visionary, I cannot stand it if somebody says, here's what you need to do and here's exactly how to do it. I mean, I can do that. I have done that. Actually, one of the jobs that I was highly successful at had very strict policies and procedures. Once I figured all of those out, I was able to be the visionary and go above and beyond with some of those things, pulling in a little bit of my achiever and influencer into there to make things a little more interesting, because I had that baseline of how things worked. My boss trusted me. I had a good relationship with them so that I could say, hey, can we make these kind of changes? I think it'll be better for the customers and it'll make our lives a lot easier. And I got the green light on that. But I don't like necessarily being in a rote environment. Had my boss said no to me in that particular situation, I probably wouldn't have been as successful with that org and wouldn't have stayed there that long. It's really important as a leader to communicate with everyone on your team. If your people are bored, if your people are bored out, if they are just phoning it in and not feeling it when they are serving customers, when they are getting their job done, it's up to you as a leader to find out how to best lead those people to fulfillment. Now, it might be that someone who's bored or burnt out or bored out, those people might just need some time off. Life isn't 100% about work. People need a break. They need to take a break, recharge. They need to go spend time with family, with friends. They might even need a change of scenery and go on vacation. Everybody needs that so that they can come back to the job fresh. If they are just working and working and working and not taking time for themselves, it's up to you as a leader to encourage them. Maybe they feel like they can't take time off. Maybe they see the revenue numbers and they're putting internal pressure on themselves that they have to be a hero and they need to do something in order to move the needle. If that is happening with your high performers especially, recognize those signs so that you can interrupt those thought processes and encourage your people to take the break that they need and that they deserve. Like that article mentioned, everyone wants a little bit of predictability and a little bit of growth. They definitely don't want a work environment where everything is changing and there is negative growth, right? They want predictability, they want a firm foundation, and then they want to grow. It's important for you as a leader to provide that, to give them the psychological safety that they're safe in your organization, that there aren't going to be any layoffs, and that they have opportunities to grow as an individual as well as a team. But most importantly, as an individual, that there is some kind of growth trajectory for them, that there's some way that they can look at their job that they're doing today and they can see where it's going to take them off into the future. It's up to you as a leader to paint that picture or to pull that picture out of the people that you're leading. Ask pointed questions of where they see themselves in a perfect world. Ask questions like, what would you do if you won the lottery? What does your life look like then? Find out what your people would actually do if they had all of the financial security in the world and the paycheck wasn't a part of the equation. What do they do? How do they find fulfillment for themselves? Ask those types of pointed questions and get some answers so that you can dovetail their answers into the job at hand. Now, for example, you might have somebody who is doing a customer service job and they do a very, very good job, but there's some signs that maybe they're bored and unfulfilled. And you ask them that question of like, what would you do if you won the lottery? Like, how would you live your life? And they might say, I would probably buy a camper and I would just travel the country and I'd probably paint. Maybe I might even buy a sailboat and go around the world. There are tons of keys of creative energy coming out of the people that report to you when they say those types of things. You hear that they might want to paint. There might be some creative opportunities there where you can give small but meaningful projects that tie them into the organization where they can apply more creativity. Those travel plans, they want to go see things and do things. Maybe if they are in customer support, maybe it might be time for them to work with a salesperson and maybe be on site with a customer and learn more about customers as they are traveling around. Above all, as leaders, it is important that we give work meaning. Even the most mundane job has meaning. I read a story once about a custodian at a school. They interviewed this man and he gave himself meaning in that job. He knew that by providing a clean and safe environment for the kids, he was making an impact on a future generation of those kids, that they wouldn't have any negative experiences with trash cans overflowing. He had a story that he told himself that gave that work meaning. Every job has meaning. Everything in your organization has meaning. If your people can't find that intrinsically within themselves, then as a leader, it is your job to cultivate that within them, to help them find that meaning with your organization so that no matter what they're doing, they know that their job has a purpose. When you know that you have a purpose and you know that that's tied to who you really are, when you can tell yourself that story, there is no boredom. There is no burnout. For me personally, when I come up with a big idea and I have a boss who's like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And hey, let's go do this too. And hey, what if this also happened? When my boss can help me take an idea and take it to the next level, help me think just a little bit bigger, I feel alive. There is motivation. I don't need to have a vacation or take a break because I know that what I'm doing has meaning for me. I know I'm making an impact in the world. I've done it a few times, and I cherish those opportunities, and I cherish this opportunity because I get to do this with you to help you find meaning for your people, your organization. I am motivated to show up here and record these videos because I want you to encourage your people to have a better time at work. I am done with the Sunday night blahs and the Monday morning bleh. Nobody wants to feel like that. I don't want any of your people to feel like that. So I am motivated personally to help your people get rid of boredom, burnout, and bore out. Boy, that sounds like something I should clean my kitchen sinks with. I'm also here to entertain. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like more like this. Oh, and one more thing. If you have not yet taken Motivation Code, you can get the light report until July 4th, 2024. You can get this light report for less than $10. There's a link down in the comments below. You can just click on that link. It'll take you right to the site. Use the code FREEDOM NOW if you need to, and that will get you that report. And you can find out how you're motivated. It will change the way you look at work. It'll change the way your people look at work. It will eradicate boredom, and it will engage your people. We'll see you in the next video.